All right. Excuse me. Y'all looking at the thumbnail. Y'all see the title. And today we got offending. What is that? Offending everybody? Offending everybody. And this is worst jobs. Worst jobs in America. Let's go.
You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, that's because I work the worst job in America called mental health therapy aide, or MHATAs for short. MHATAs work in psych wards and are basically babysitters for adults, feeding them, monitoring them, getting viciously attacked by them, all for the low pay of $35 grand a year. That's right, for an unlivable wage, you too can deal with the stress of, will I get assaulted today? When I started the job, I had no idea what I was getting into. All they asked in the interview process was, are you okay with mandated overtime? In which they might as well have asked, how poor are you? Because who is okay with being forced to work? Hey, did you think you're about to go home? Well, not anymore. We're gonna need to watch Billy. Be careful, he's off his meds and loves to bite. My first day on the job taught me what anxiety really is. It started by being dumped on the sex offenders unit and told to take roll call. Imagine all of a sudden being surrounded by 30 psychotic predators and having to talk to every single one of them. Not only that, but as I'm asking for people's names, all I'm doing is making enemies. Because 90% of psych patients are lazy.
Bro, so straight up making enemies just like that. That's crazy.
Drugged up idiots who spend most of the day sleeping. And my white ass is just tapping them on the shoulder like, hey, what's your name? Go f yourself. Okay, I don't see yourself here. Is it Jerry? Is that your name? Jerry? But that fear eventually subsides, lulling you into a false sense of security. Now you're much easier to attack. You'll remember to be anxious next time a food tray's thrown at your face. It's what you get for opening up their package of bread, sprinkling in rat poison, and putting the wrapper back on, thinking I wouldn't notice. So what's the training like to handle an aggressive patient? Oh, I'm glad you asked. You see, I'm not allowed to hit, tackle, or even bear hug them. No, it's too cruel. All I'm allowed to do is redirect. So if a patient is coming at me with a hammer, all I can do is redirect them away. Which sounds ridiculous, and it is! You think pressing the juke button is gonna make a person forget what they were doing? Where did this hammer come from? And in what part of this do you get the weapon away from the patient? Is Billy now on construction duty? On nails good. You see, what happened was, a few years back, people used to beat the heck out of patients. So they changed the laws in order to protect them. Problem is, they overcorrected, and now patients have too many rights. For example, let's say a patient punches you in the face and breaks your jaw. You know what happens to them? Nothing! No jail, no prison, no hooking up their nips to car batteries, nothing. And you can go ahead and press charges, but like Drake being told no, it's not going to change anything. Because in order to convict, you need evidence, and psych wards refuse to provide any in fear of violating HIPAA. You think your pinata face would be enough proof, but sadly, it isn't. I learned this the hard way when a patient named Tommy chomped down on my arm. And you might be thinking, oh well, maybe he was psychotic at the time. No! He knew exactly what he was doing. You see, Tommy is basically
Bro, took that to heart.
an internet troll. All day, every day is spent trying to instigate people. He'll harass, stalk, and pet staff members, all with the biggest smile on his face. Anyway, one day, Tommy starts bothering another patient named Rick, and Rick is not the person you want to f with. Rick has a long history of violence and has been arrested 37 times.
Bro, the look on their face says it all.
I thought after 20, they just say, look, you had your chance. Not only that, but Rick's fists don't discriminate. He's assaulted police, COs, nurses, so I don't think my pasty ass is off limits. Anyway, I keep separating Tommy and Rick, but Tommy just keeps coming back. Eventually, I get fed up, and I was like, look, Tommy, I'm not gonna
Tommy need to go to timeout. Tommy definitely need to go to timeout, bro. I'm not gonna hold you.
tell you again, either go to your room or I'm going to call the doctor to give you an injection. Tommy responds appropriately by spitting in my face.
That's crazy.
Is where I effed up. You see, instead of manhandling Tommy like I wanted to, I decided to play by the rules and redirect him to the medication room. Problem was, once we got there, Tommy was free to drag me to the ground. And now it's a UFC match. Instinctively, I go for an armbar, but Tommy counters with a chomp to the forearm. Immediately, I hit him in the throat. He lets go, but not before taking a nice little chunk out of me. Eventually, I go to the hospital, where a thick nurse asks, what happened? Well, a hungry patient decided to have a little nibble. Maybe you should have fed him more. Or maybe I'm just a tasty treat. That's when I get a call from my supervisor telling me Tommy is HIV positive. Positive! Yeah, not only do I get stitches, but I also get that fear rattling around in my brain noodle. Oh, but at least I get a few days off from work. Sure, but it's my own time. That's right, when you get injured, the hospital doesn't give you days off, so I had to use my own vacation time. Some people vacay in Hawaii while I sit home worrying about dying. So I returned to work a week later and talked to Tommy's parole officer, who piled on more bad news, saying that even with an injury requiring stitches, there was nothing he could do. So what do you think Tommy did once he found out there were no...
Tommy probably laughed or went back. Or Tommy probably laughed at you, or he probably went back to Rick and spit on him, or he spit at you. One of them two. I'm calling it.
consequences. Did he guess level up his troll
Oh, he getting nothing. Nothing ain't happened to him.
game? Yep. Turns out giving an a-hole a get-out-of-jail-free card is like giving Drake a preteen, saying, I hope you don't abuse this. And this is just one of many times I was injured at the psych center, not including all the psychological trauma. There was a stretch between February and November where I was legitimately worried about my life, mostly due to a patient named Tyrone. Tyrone has the 3 most dangerous qualities of any human. He's dumb as rocks, paranoid, and freakishly strong. He barely even worked out either. He was just built like a gorilla. And it's not even a race thing. If anything, I was the slave in our relationship. Fetch me some water, boy. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. But even with walking on eggshells, Tyrone would still get furious with me. Mostly because, like I mentioned earlier, he's paranoid! If you just glanced at this dude wrong, he'd think you're plotting against him. But luckily, most of the staff knew how to handle Tyrone, which was just to ignore him. Engaging with someone paranoid only fuels their delusion. So
Nah, I don't think I probably can work someone like that. No.
simplest strat is to just ignore him. However, one staff member named Jamal apparently didn't get the memo and starts arguing with Tyrone. I'm trying to separate him when Jamal
Hey, bro, he trying to save you.
says, stop talking about something and do it. Now my anxiety is skyrocketing because if Tyrone starts swinging at Jamal, I'm the best option to get him off, and I'm not a good option. Be
Bro, you gotta be the punching bag, bro.
like a preteen trying to wrestle Drake. You're so cute when you struggle. So I'm begging Jamal, come on, man, it's not worth it. But he
Not
just
worth it.
has to run his mouth again and say, I knew you were soft, soft, soft. And just like that, it's boss battle time. Tyrone grabs Jamal by the neck and just tosses him across the room like he was playing frisbee with an infant, causing him to fly through the air before landing hard on the concrete.
Dang.
Then Tyrone starts charging towards Jamal when out of pure desperation I yell,
Bro, you gotta do something.
Chipotle! Tyrone hesitates. Chipotle, Tyrone! I'll go out right now and get you Chipotle if you leave Jamal alone. Panting, Tyrone goes, burrito. I'm like, yep, I'll get your burrito right now, but you gotta chill, okay? Go to your room and I'll bring it to you. At this point, I can see the gears turning in his head, so with my heart pounding, I looked right at Tyrone and said, chicken burrito. Tyrone looks at me, nods, then heads back
Chicken burrito.
to his room.
Okay.
Staff quickly rush over to help out Jamal, who is clearly fucked up. There's no blood, but he's making this wheezing sound of... Turns out he suffered a sprained forearm, dislocated
Damn.
wrist, and fractured hip. Yeah, all from one
Damn.
frisbee toss. Needless to say, he never came back to work.
Hey, at least you saved his life, man. That's all that matters.
Which was probably for the best, considering he had a habit of instigating the zoo animals. So whatever happened to Tyrone, well, I got good news. He was arrested, charged, and later sentenced to 5 years in prison. I'm kidding. There were no consequences. If anything, Tyrone's bad behavior was rewarded with Chipotle. That's because psych wards aren't fair. There's nothing fair about getting anxiety, being nibbled on, or thrown across the room when you're just trying to pick up a paycheck. So anybody out there thinking about working in a psych center, don't. But if you're poor and have no other option, then just remember, if you can't appeal to someone's mind, then try appealing to their stomach. How did you get HIV? The same way as everybody else. A hungry man. Think of psych wards like the Middle East, where the patients are the man and you're the woman. What's the worst job in America? As a coal miner, Uber driver, hand? I worked as a Mahata for 3 years, and I don't want to say it was hell, because there's a lot of cool people in hell. Prince, DMX, Kobe. There's no one cool in the
bro
psych
said
ward. Interesting,
Prince.
sure, but no one I'd take a helicopter ride with. Positive. Society looks at a drooling person and sees a problem. Well, I see a solution. We're all thinking the same question. How dumb can a person be before tapping is illegal? We gotta draw a line somewhere. Can't just be giving out low fives to every grunting girl. So how dumb is too dumb? What if she thinks the earth is flat, or crystals have healing powers, or condoms feel just as good as raw dogging? At what point does her ignorance become a red flag instead of a green light? I asked this because there was a patient at the psych center named Stacy who was aesthetically banging, but mentally a Pop-Tart. Now, I didn't have the desire to pet her untrimmed kitty, but other patients did. Staff would repeatedly catch her playing the who's in my mouth game, which was such a nightmare. Because patients porking will get you in trouble, but patients assaulting will get you fired. And whenever the IQ threshold for consent is, Stacy was right on the border. Sure, she could answer basic questions, but her brain came with a built-in buffer, like trying to play Elden Ring on a Chromebook. Anyway, the good news is Stacy was eventually transferred to an all-female unit, where it was clear no one wanted to taste her seafood. I didn't hear no. Positive? You know what you want to do. Oh.
Yeah, man, there you go, man, right there, man. Link up in the description and all that good stuff, man. That was crazy. The worst job, man. Y'all gotta be safe right now. Yo.